I bought an E31. This is my new toy, my new project, passion project. This car is not going to replace my E34. It's not going to replace my E38 or anything of the sort. It is just going to be an addition to the fleet. So I bought this car from a body shop here in town, and it's been sitting for 15 years or so. I've known about this car for a good while, but there's kind of a twofold issue here. On one hand, I thought, they want a lot of money for that car, and they weren't really going up in values at the time like they are now. And I decided to wait on it, and then kind of forgot about it for a couple of years. And then, every so often I'd stop back by, I'd say, hey, you want to get rid of that? And they're like, yeah, for this much money. I'm like, nah. So I waited, some time went by, and then I sold a couple of my other cars last summer, and I kind of had a hankering for another project, as I tend to do. And this car is, not much different, except it is, in the sense that it looks far different. It's from the same era as my other two, my E34 is 91, my other E32s are 91s. I've had the most 91 cars out of anything, which I thought was odd, but yeah, it's completely different. It's a spaceship in comparison to even cars of the same brand with the same drivetrain, of the same year, of the same era. So anywho, I go back to the body shop after I sell these cars that I've had for a while. Sold two E32s, I sold an E34, sold a 2002. That was the quickest and easiest sale I ever made. And yeah, that just led me with some money that was burning a hole in my pocket. I said, I need to do something different. I flipped a couple cars, that's cool. What do I get out of it? Not just money, but what can I get experience-wise out of, my purchasing power? And so I thought about it, and this car came to mind. I looked up the old pictures that I had of it, and I was like, yeah, that's the thing. I looked up the values. I looked up, how difficult are they to get running? How do you, what could go wrong? Basically is the question that I asked. And, famous last words in a lot of cases, but in this case, it's the polar opposite. So I had my buddy, Cam Wright. He's got a towing company called Right Way Hauling and Transportation. And, he's been doing this for a little while, and I can always trust him to get my cars from A to B, scot-free. So I called him, made sure he was available. I got there the next day, make sure the car was still available, blah, blah, blah. It is, and went home, sat on it for a little bit, and it took no more than an hour for me to decide I have to have that car. And so I did. Without further ado, let me introduce you to my E31. Here she blows. So, since the last pictures I took of this car 6 years ago, it has lost some clear coat. It's grown some stuff. Jesus Christ. None of this was here last time. So it would need to be painted, that's for damn sure. Need to be fished out of this shit. Surprisingly, the tires appear that they hold air still. Whew. Oh, that's... This isn't as bad as I recall. The guy that told me this thing was still here said that he made it sound like it was in a lot worse shape. I don't know. It is an E31. You can't get away from that. And yeah, it's all got to be done. I mean, it's got a little bit of hail damage on it. It's got peeling clear coat. We're missing a piece of trim right there. That's gotta be painted. I mean, it's been sitting here for a long time. The fact that there are modules in the floor is scary. Very scary. Hold the hood latch on her. Let's see if that works. It's missing a piece of trim now. I swear it had that last time. Get the... Oh, there's two. Yeah, that's right. There we go. There's a 12er. Nice. Nice. Yeah, that's not on there. So they were fiddling with some electrical shit. That's got to be done. I mean, who freaking knows if this thing would even try to run. But anyway, on over to the... Jesus. Very crunchy. The amount of shit that's flying at me right now. What even are... Ah, they're sticky. What is this? Oh my god. Ah! That's an indication of how this is with the city. Here is the problem. One of the bigger problems. This might be what he was referring to. Green shit. Granted, that was green last time I was here. So it's definitely had some water in here at one point. Also, the glove box was and still is back there. The headliner is, what is that? Leather's pretty freaking... It's a lot more soft than I expected. But we've had some mice. It's been at the dealership before, or at least it's been here. That little tag down there is indicative of that. We have new parts, oil pan gasket. Got that on there. We have, this is a brand new piece. It was around the corner somewhere. So it seems it's got new pieces. There's some bunch of shit in the back. I'm gonna go check out that box. The trunk was apart. I mean, it's literally got a tree growing into it. That's how long it's been here. That's insane. That was tumultuous. The amount of shit, like the amount of brush I just had to like walk and maneuver through. There's a lot going on. I'm gonna have to get that. It's a lot different than I remembered. Like I said, it's been 6 more years since I last saw that car. My thought process is this. Yeah, it needs paint. It looks just like my Mercedes. But I'm also of the opinion that if it's worth a lot more running than it is in parts, given that it's been sitting for so long, that is you know, but I'm also really good with V12s. If it's just cosmetic, I mean, again, it's got like boxed with like new parts of shit in the back and a lot of E31 specific stuff. If it is parted out, I mean, on the other hand, I'm gonna keep this a good $1.50, which I know this is the issue that I've been having with the Mercedes. Everything, again, is E31 specific. That's a good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing because that means that, well, you can't just pop a module from an E32 into it and make it run. So it's a big difference between the, E32, E34, 5s and 7s. You can take most of the modules out of each of those and move them over from car to car. That's when they were making stuff that, you could do that. You could do part sharing. E38 and E39, it's a little bit less, but the E31 was its own. It was so far technologically advanced that it had its own computer network, its own everything. It was just E31 specific. It was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was the most technologically advanced car in the world when it came out. If I'm not mistaken. Or not, I know for a fact it was the first purely CAD car, like computer aided design car. The rest of them were like drawn and stuff like that. That was the first one made with completely CAD. So that's cool, but also a problem. So that would be, well, like every damn thing else that I buy out of Fields. Get her home, clean it up, and see what we have and decide on a direction. Because, again, it's so easy to go back and forth with this car because its blessing and curse are the same thing. That it is what it is. Like, that's what, kind of tears me between, do something, like, if not even a complete resto, but like, get it running, do all that type of shit, and, maybe paint it, like, maybe. It's a fucking 8 Series, bro. Like, that's an iconic car. That's an iconic car. Makes me not want to tear it apart. Like, even the 129, they made a boatload of those. They're kind of hard to find at this point, but they made a boatload, and so parting that out, should it can't, I'm not going to, but like, should it come to that point, it's like, okay, fine, there's plenty of guys restoring these. There's not that many 31s that exist. There's just flat out not. Like, I mean, so shy of, some crazy frame damage or, something like that. I don't know. This is a new territory. It's a new territory. But I do think, though, that it would go well regardless. Like, it's a winner for me. Like, it's a good investment for me regardless, which is why I'm probably just going to end up with it. Like, at least going to end up with it. I'm just going to have to really reach out to some resources and see what is the best direction. Also, speaking of resources, I just ran the VIN. That is an early car. The friggin' 1122 of 90 when that car was built. That car is a month behind my E34. Wow. That's an early car. I don't know what that means for value, but yeah, M70 car. I wish it was M73. I was hoping it was, but still, I'm gonna get to typing away. This is fun. It's not fun. Glad I brought this thing though. Looks a lot easier. Yeah, these things got little thorns in them. Shit. They make a lot of dust too. Grasshopper on my thumb. Yeah, they got me. So these things are thorny. They're definitely fucking me up. But now that I've gotten most of these out of the way, I had the final boss, which is an actual tree growing into the car. Well, sort of. See it pressed against the bumper there. So I have to cut that down. There's actually 2 trees. This one and the big one. got that out. It's literally created its own dent. That's hilarious. But it's free. I do body work. Car's free. So I'm gonna get this off. Weed eat some more of this stuff. We got a good path to get it out and go from there. A lot better. Got all that out of the way. Got that out of the way. Most of this out of the way. Now it's accessible, so we can kind of see what we're actually dealing with. It's under a lot less shade now because I cut down the 2 trees, but had a little bit of air, a wee bit, but yeah, funny enough, this car was debadged. I don't know why, but you can see here where the tree wanted to be, right there, and then the other tree right here, small dent in it, but you know, I can get that open without the key. But yeah, this is my new E31. Need some trim, need some more trim up there, needs to be painted, but everything else looks pretty damn straight, aside from, like I said earlier, the little bit of hail damage on the door. The roof has a little bit, but yeah. Again, box full of trim in there. This mess, that mess, that mess. I mean, it's gonna take some work. But I own an 8 Series though. That's pretty lit. So, see my sweat after having done all of that. I didn't really anticipate doing yard work today, especially not in my own yard. But I own an 8 Series, so that's cool. It is about to be 4, yeah. So tow truck should be pulling up on me here shortly. So I picked a good time to come out and bring the reciprocating saw and the weed eater. I figured it would take about that long, and it did. So I'm not covered in grass. I itch. I'm dirty, but I have that, so it's cool. Alright, hopefully we get this thing moved in a decent way. Let's find out what happens. It's gonna come up. Oh, that one didn't work. Oh, he says it's good. Oh, it's moving. Alright. We're moving. We're moving. We got a rock and a hard place, a really big yellow hard place. But it's moved from where it was, so we're getting somewhere. Making progress, making progress, making progress. Ooh. 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 And we're in the clear. That's been going on.
Just enough air in them.
Yeah. Barely. So the car has quite a story on it as well. There's divorce, there's market crashes, there is incompetent shops, which is a little scary. Alright, so now that I'm seeing this out, like in traffic, you know, even though it's on a trailer, just like pretend it's not. This is one of the coolest things I've ever purchased. Because among all the sea of regular traffic, you know, you're looking around and it's like, what the fuck is that? That is sick. Like, yeah, I've got a
dope 750 and 540, you know, but they're, and you know, respectfully, regular traffic, because there are other 5 Series on the road, there are other 750s on the road, well, 7 Series, but that, when is the last time anybody saw one of those? Most people don't even know what the hell it is. That's cool. That is cool. So, it doesn't have Brimbos. It does have slotted and, or not slotted, but drilled rotors with no use on them. It's not a single lip, so you can drive it and see what happens. But bump stop disintegrated up there. Everything else looks pretty standard under here, so that's good. Same story here on the back, so good. That is, oh my god. That is hot. That is hot. That's so hot. The front doesn't fit because the tire's too tall. But look, oh my god. Look at that. I've also discovered one of the greatest things about this car. Works. All 4 windows rolled out. This is just the coolest looking shit I have ever had. That's so cool. Still, the key... Okay, now the key's off. Again, in my hand. Why are those still on? It's like it's stuck in position 1 or something. And my suspicion is that it's this ignition cylinder, so I might grab one of those from a parts car. If, you know, God willing, it's not the same, or not proprietary to the 8. But fuck around, it could be. I really also want to know why these boys don't come up, but that could be a fuse thing as well. I also discovered I need a new fuse thingy because mine broke almost immediately. Might fabricate some stuff to try to fix that. Also, one of these fuses is too tall. Or no. What? What is that? What? What is... That is why this relay was unplugged. What is that? Why? Okay. Alright, so I went and got 2 batteries for this thing. I didn't spend a ton on them because I just want them to do their job. I have warranties and stuff. We see a little bit of a mess with some fuses there. These bad boys. This is the first time I've had its own power to it. Now, the first thing that jumps out to me is that you just saw me grab the keys, right? Why is this shit on? Why is this on? These things aren't supposed to be on. The key's here. There's no key in it. So, this is a aftermarket alarm system, such on, so forth, whatever. Somebody, unless it's just mice, I would assume has been fucking with the ignition wiring, so that's probably going to be one of our first things to take care of. Another thing that I've been dying to see, though, before I even do anything else. Okay, so the EML light comes on. Now it's actually on. The check engine, that's great. Radio, just bright. Bright with nothing. I get no noise of any sort. Okay. I can put in the time. Not all the pixels are dead, so it's... Anyway, what I wanted to see is... Oh, they don't. Damn. I want to see if the friggin' headlights would come up. This is fucky. I think these columns are the same as E32 and E34 though, so that's a plus. This is, look at this. It's not staying in its position at all. Well, why not? Oh, it turns over. Amazing! That I did not expect that. Did not expect that. That's cool. Okay. To the gas station, get fresh gas. This motherfucker might fire up. That's cool. So what's happening here is I'm doing what's called a stomp test. 3, 4. That's the last code. So it blinks solid, and then it goes 1, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means the code is 1444, and that coincides with a list of codes that can be possible. So basically, this is early, check engine, onboard diagnostics, etc., etc. The car knows what's wrong with it. So we're gonna look up code 1444 and see what that comes up with. All right. So after looking that up, 1444 means no stored codes, which is a good thing. However, it doesn't start still. So I'm going to next address fuel pump relays. I'm going to address fuel pump fuses, fuel pump 1 and 2, 24 and 23, which are 15 and 15. So I'm going to mess with these two 15s, see if I can place those. If not, it's going to be a relay, or realistically, as long as this car's sat, it's possible that the pumps are just, so I will have to, it's great. I have 2 E32 750s, to which I can refer for some of their M70 goodies, just to test things, which is important, because again, this car, a lot of it is its own shit, but also a lot of it is shared with E32s, which is great for costs and diagnostics and stuff like that. So I'm going to check out these fuel pumps. I'm also going to do a physical test on, like, do I have pressure at the rails here? Do I are the fuses good? Start there, relay, move forward down the line, see if I have fuel pressure, because I tried to put some starting fluid inside of one of the throttle bodies there. Didn't really do a ton, but it's just in that little vacuum crack there. So it's not really a ton going in there. So I'm going to pop this air box off, put some of that in there, and then see if it tries to. Then we know it's a fuel issue. That worked immediately. I'll do it again. Fired it up for a minute. So, got a fuel issue, but this E31 that I just stole, and by the way, looks so fire on my 32s. Oh my god, runs, not on its own, but it runs. So, to the fuel stuff, again, fuses, so on and so forth, and we're gonna see what we can make happen. All right, so tested, swapped out some relays, swapped out the fuses, no dice. So here we are. It's where the fuel pumps are. Got them unplugged. I found a rat's nest in here. You can see with some of this shit. Thought maybe they were chewed. They were not. The plugs are in fine order, so that's not the issue. So I am about to pull these fuel lines off and then crank this whole thing out and get a look at the pumps and perhaps bench test them to know what's going on. Smells like old gas. Definitely smells like old gas. Also, no that's fantastic. That no fuel squirted out when I disconnected the lines, which is telling that these weren't doing anything. So Get this out. Alright, so I took the fuel pumps out. Put 12 volts to them, nothing happens. So that's probably our culprit that's keeping us from running. Guess might have to disconnect the battery because the key's not on still. And that's still a thing. So I don't. It's dark now, so I don't have time to figure that out. But yeah, we know it turns over. We know it runs. Just have to well, sort through all of that. And all these relays, I'm probably going to reflow them just to ensure, because some of those are E31 specific and rather expensive, so I'm going to pause on that. But yeah, the fuel system on the pump's a little sticky, but also fantastic with this pillarless design because I can just lean right in. Look at that. It's fantastic. Yeah, the fuel's not terrible looking. Again, my finger's a little bit sticky at the very, very bottom of the sock and of the there's this little stick thingy. Little sticky, so kind of varnished, but yeah, I got fresh gas in there, and I mean, not really getting. There's a little bit of sticky shit down there. I ain't gonna lie. A wee bit of sticky stuff. So some seafoam is in order for sure. Just gonna dump that straight in there so that can kind of break some of that shit down. But yeah, fuel pump's got to be done something with. My thinking, I'm gonna source. They said that Bosch 044 pumps fit in there, which is what I have in my 540. That's kind of costly. My thought initially is to run over to my 750 and pull its pumps out, because I actually already did that when I was trying to get my 34 together for the Rick Ross car show. I pulled those pumps out just to make sure that I had the wiring right on my shit. I had a day with that. I think I might pull those guys out and stick them in this holder thingy majig, C31 specific, and then try this again. I think, yeah, I'm gonna get some seafoam, stick that in here, and let it do its job. Get some more fresh gas, some high octane shit, and yeah, I imagine today's September something. I'll have it running tomorrow. Just need to get the fuel situation taken care of. Which, this is interesting too, because shy of detailing it, instead of detailing it rather, I usually, first thing I do when I get a car, especially if I'm sitting, is fucking detail shit out of it. I don't even do that. I washed actually half of this car, like actually half. Let's get some of the black shit off. And then, I wanted to get batteries in it, because that's really going to decide the direction of this car, so I can get it to run, which I think I will be able to. But, yeah, I usually detail, get all the rat piss out, and so on and so forth. I didn't do that this time. It's really strange behavior of me. I fucking put a wheel on it and put batteries in it. I bought new batteries, so I mean, that's, kudos there, I suppose. Also, can anybody tell me what these lights are? So, not those. What is this? What are these inner lights on the bumper? Because the high beams, or no, the fog lights are like the middle one of the pop-up joint. The outer one is the low beam. So, what is this? And what is that? I don't... what are those? Alright, so I've just gotten the fuel pumps put in. Stole them from E32. And now I'm going to put the key in it and see what it does. I'm gonna need to mess with the fuel level sender. It's better than it was. It wants to go. That old gas, man. Alright, it's running. I have no tack, but it's running. Cool. Nice. Nice. Noise was indeed power steering, so I put that in there. We're still drinking it down. I might need to get some more, honestly. Unless I have a leak. No? Doesn't leak a drop yet. But it started to idle better. You know, the more of that stuff I put in there, I think that power steering pump was actually causing quite a bit of resistance on the engine running. But now it's idling pretty fucking flat, honestly. I'm really cool with that. Wow. Yeah, this is fantastic, dude. Definitely blew out some rust, I guess, from shaking when it first started, but that's amazing. That is amazing. This car sat for 15 years and listened to it. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Oh, wow, let's see. Ah, my God, 15 years of sitting and you can do that. That's fantastic. Also, it turns out that my tack does work. It's not super responsive yet, but again, it's on old gas. Wow. Let's see if this does anything. Okay, it goes into gear. It lurches forward a little bit. Reverse. Oh. Whoops. This is moving along really well. That's insane. This car sat for so long. Let's try reverse again. There it is. It doesn't quite like reverse. Parking brake is also not on, so I figure out what's going on there, but bro, this is so cool. This is so cool. Alright, so since it runs so damn good, like really good, I'm going to attempt to take it on a stroll. Let's see how this goes. My head is hitting the headliner because I can't get the seat all the way seated. Because for some reason the tracks are not in agreement with each other, so I'm going to open the sunroof. It's very stiff. Foot on brake. Brakes pumped up. Drive. It goes forward. Got a dink parking brake. It says the parking brake's on. It's been thinking that. It's not. But it's moving in its own power, which is sick. Give it gas. Fuck yeah, I'm driving my 8 Series. And it is wiggly because them tires got flat spots on them. Shift's good. Speedo seems to work. This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. I'm driving an 8 Series. My 8 Series. The brakes, not fantastic, but I mean, they gotta be. I definitely bring some rubber there. Okay, we're moving. This is so wicked cool, dude. Blinkers, I have no blinkers. I have high beams. This is so sick! Alright, we're getting there. A lot of noises around me, making me nervous. But this thing goes. I'm not really giving it the beans yet because I don't really trust these brakes quite yet. Again, they've been sitting for forever, but this thing runs, shifts, not overheating. I got a check light. I don't know if that's because of the fact that it thinks that that's on, so I have to check out that sensor, but Yeah, these brakes are not it. Look at the lack of pillars around me. This shit is so open, but it's not as open because the headliner is really blocking like half of the view, and the rear view is like pointing down. Oh, and the air compressor is broke. Never mind. I was gonna fill these tires up here. These flat spots as fuck. I'm driving my E31. I own an 850 that runs and drives pretty damn well. It sat for 15 years. Someone called me relatively recently the V12 Whisperer. I'm beginning to think he was right. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Would buy another one because this is awesome. The air, I taped the headliner. The open air is crazy in here. It's crazy. I need to adjust the seats. Both of them, well, rather neither one of them has an up and downer function, so I'm kind of sitting up higher than I would like to be. I also need to do something, I guess, with the throttle bodies because it is not responsive on the throttle at all. Again, running on old gas, I haven't checked the spark plugs yet, but it ain't supposed to be quite this slow. But again, it's the second drive that it's had, and I've only put now 3.5 miles on it in 15 years. So I give it its credit. I'm just trying to get it, kind of get a feel for where to direct my attention next. The brakes are not fantastic. The front right wheel keeps locking up on me, and then it seems to favor that wheel more than the other one. So we'll go through the brakes and shit, see what's going on there. Definitely got a vacuum leak, so the check engine light comes on until I rev it, but it's also slow to rev. It's supposed to be a lot quicker than that, so there's some throttle stuff happening there. But again, 4 miles, 15 years. It's gonna need some adjustment. Again, I'm gonna look at, I'm gonna do an oil change here in a second. I'm going to all new filters, and I'm actually about to put seafoam in this oil so I can run that shit out and let it run for a couple minutes, and 10-20 minutes or so. Temperature wise, it seems to stay steady, so that's good. Yeah, this car is awesome. There's definitely work for me to do, but it's so fucking cool. I don't care. This thing is amazing. This is an amazing car. Yeah, this is awesome. I have an 8 Series. Alright, so I have gotten it running, I've driven it, and so on. Not really there on power. Feels a lot like this one does when it is only running on 6 cylinders, so I started doing some unplugging and plugging back in and so on. It turns out that when I unplug this mass airflow sensor, the car stops running. Unplug the other one, nothing happens. I swapped those first, same thing. I have swapped the coils, same thing. I have swapped the well, it's all done so far. It could be there's a pulse sensor that's on the wires that is these guys here. That's what those two plugs are. On my A32, I had an issue with one of those, and that was what was making it run on 6 cylinders. So I'm going to perhaps pull, I've got multiple sets of those. I'm going to pull one and see if I can make a change with that. And then I'm also going to check, the ignition stuff. I don't think it's an ignition problem. It seems to be a fuel problem. Could be. I don't know. I pulled the relay for one of the fuel pumps and it stopped. Pulled the other one out. Nothing happened. So I need to make sure that I'm getting fuel up here. That's going to, that's going to rule that out. And then we can see if it's an electronic issue or if it's, a fuel delivery issue, or if it's a, a spark issue. I guess electronic as well, but That's what we are dealing with currently, because yeah, it just doesn't have the power that a V12 is supposed to have. That runs a lot better. My other one runs a lot better. It's not quite doing what it's supposed to do. So I think once I get the other 6 cylinders running, it will be a hell of a lot better. Alright, so after some fiddling with, it was the pulse generator. It's got to be, because I just messed with it, pulled another one out of one of my part stashes, and it's that's how a V12 is supposed to rev. So now if I drive this, it's going to be a hell of a lot better. And to prove to myself that it was that, I started it with this one undone, and it ran on this side. So that tells me that pulse generator on this side is kind of fucky. It's kind of fucky. Now it's running on all 12. So I'm going to drive it and see if we can really pull all 12 out of it. See if it'll do what I want it to do. So, report back in a second. Alright, first pulled down my street. Now it's a 12 cylinder. Yeah, it's a 12 cylinder now. Oh yeah. So, pedal down. That motherfucker just chirped that gear. She flies, bro. She flies. I can't be flying too hard with these brakes like this, but it'll do it. It'll do what I tell it to do. That's for damn sure. This car is the shit. Another cool thing I like about 90s BMWs, it's very open, but if I don't want it to be open, I can just turn that, and then that'll come off, and meet itself back on there. And see, there we go. Oh, almost. Almost. Let's try it again. Ah, not quite. Too much resistance. I need to clean that. But yes, all the windows will bring themselves up if you hold the lock thing. Bust Daniels on there, you feel me? Got them bust down 20s. Ugh. I also have lowering springs coming for this car next week, so the front will go. So that's hot. That is hot. So yeah, I finally got it running on all 12, and that shit gold. It runs like a V12 with 97,000 miles on it. Yeah, the car is fantastic. Jobs for this week, I'm going to do a brake fluid flush on it because all that shit's black. All the fluid is see how that helps with the braking situation. But since it runs how it's supposed to, and just fuck me, I'm not driving a car across the street. jackass with a bike. Yeah, just kind of get, fluids gone through, oil change, brake fluid change. Trans seems to be cool, so I'm not going to do the transmission. The differential's a little clunky, so probably going to do diff mounts. But since it runs like perfect now, which I am still over the moon about, it sat for 15 years. I can't overstate that. I'm so happy about that. So just do the fluids, and then I can start working on some of the electrical stuff. That's where the fun's going to come in at. Again, some things stay on when they're not supposed to be on. I've done some relay work. I've been taking them apart and reflowing the solder joints in them. It just helps. And yeah, just start moving through those electrical systems. I've got a buddy in Kansas City who's got a parts car, so I can get the things that I'm missing for mine. Then pretty soon I'll have a complete registerable, drivable. Hey, where's this fucking